This is Eric from Pack Hacker, and today we're taking a look at the FORCLAZ 100 compact 10-liter travel backpack, which I've been testing for the past 2 weeks. If you find this video helpful, make sure you subscribe so we can continue making content like this to help you travel smarter. Let's dive in. So this pack has an extremely lightweight construction, and that's mostly due to the polyester exterior materials. It's very, very thin. I'm not sure the exact diener of the materials, but like when this thing is empty, you can like see like an entire silhouette of like what you're looking at through it. It's very, very lightweight, and it does have a polyurethane coating. And that surprised me when I first, I had it in my hand and heard that, because it doesn't really look like it or feel like it. It just kind of feels like a thin layer of polyester. But to test it, or to, I guess not really test that, but just test the water resistance of this pack, I held it under the sink and kind of pooled water in it. And I just kind of held it for a while to see if water would drip through. And after about a minute and a half or so, I could feel that there was water, like it was damp, the material, but water had not yet come through. So I think after a while, it eventually water will seep through if it's pooled. But overall, very happy with the water resistance of this pack. I was actually pretty surprised that it did that well. So if you get caught in a light rain, you're gonna be all right. I wouldn't put a bunch of like unprotected tech in here for water resistance reasons, and also for there's not much padding here. But overall, very happy with how it's held up. We've just got one zipper that goes around the outside here, and that is a KCC zipper, which is not a brand we have a bunch of experience with, but overall, I mean, it does pretty well. I'll give you a close-up there of the pull. It's metal. No issues with it coming off the track or anything like that. It's held up surprisingly well for a brand that I, at least personally, had never heard of. The pull is like a paracord-like material with just a knot on the end. Very simple, and if you wanted to switch it out to something else, it'd be easy to do. You could just cut it or untie this paracord material. The other zipper here does not have a pull, but we'll get to that in a moment. The logo here on the front, very DIY looking. Let me give you a close-up. And I noticed this morning, so I did all my notes for this yesterday, and I noticed this morning that there is a small, just loose thread there. I think I have been pretty rough on this thing, so I think it might come from that. But that doesn't bother me so much. It's not like this is coming off or anything like that. And like I said, it's kind of DIY looking anyways. But overall, this pack, very bare bones, no water bottle pockets or no like attachment loops or anything like that. It's just literally to put gear in when maybe you weren't expecting to need to, because this thing packs down really small, which we'll get into in just a little bit. So moving over to the back side here, as you can see, no padding, no aeration, no sternum, or not sternum strap, no strap keepers. This is literally just a bag you can throw stuff in, and it happens to have shoulder straps. And that's how they're able to save a lot of weight and also save a lot of price. So the shoulder straps here, they're pretty big on the top here, and then they come down and get quite thin near the bottom. And then you've got these small plastic adjusters. And these do a pretty good job while you're wearing the pack, but I've noticed sometimes when you're taking it on or off, or when you're pulling it in and out of the stuff sack, these tend to not, or kind of get knocked around and not be where you want them to be. You can see it's kind of already like, it just kind of doesn't really hold on to the materials so well. But this very, very thin on the bottom here. That doesn't bother me so much, but there's no strap keeper. So if you have like a smaller frame and you have this really tightened down, you're gonna be kind of flailing around like a streamer or something like that. And then no padding or aeration on the back panel. So whatever you throw inside of this thing, it becomes the back panel. So if you're like just bringing like a sweatshirt, a packable jacket or something like that, it's gonna be pretty comfortable. But if you have something heavy in there, like you go to the market and you get some food like apples or potatoes or something, you're gonna feel that on your back, and especially on your bottom, because the heavy items in this pack are gonna come down here, and then it's gonna be kind of on your lower back, or depending where you wear it, it'll just be kind of resting on your back and not be super comfortable. So just something to think about, and we'll talk about that more once we get inside this pack. So I definitely don't have this thing overweight right now. It's stuffed pretty full because I have larger items, but they're not very heavy. But I'm not sure if you can tell, it's starting to dig in a little bit. It's not really uncomfortable, but I can feel that if I were to put a little bit more weight in here, it'd be digging in right here. And you really kind of have to wear it high on your back to get like the coverage from the wider part of the strap. I'm not sure how well you can see that. And this is another way, so I'll tighten it up right now, that you can see that these things really just kind of flail around, especially if it's like a windy environment, or if you were to wear this on like a bike or something like that. But overall, it's pretty comfortable. I do have like kind of cushiony things packed in there right now, as you'll see when we get into the main compartment. So the back panel's pretty comfortable, and it sits pretty nicely on my back, but as soon as you have more rigid things or heavier things that don't really conform to your back, it can get a little bit uncomfortable. So we've got just one secondary compartment on this thing, and it's actually the stuff sack as well. So in there right now, I've just got my wallet because it fits in there nicely. My phone won't fit inside here. If you have like a mini phone or one of the flip phones, it might fit inside of here, but it's important to note that whatever you put in here is right on your back, and it's almost like raised because it's just on top of this back panel material. So if you have like a pretty like flush thing in the main compartment and then you're adding something, this area is going to be a little bit raised compared to the rest of the area. But I like putting my wallet in there because I can kind of feel it and like know, okay, I have my wallet. You could, fit paperwork or something in there as well. Not a super secure pocket. It's very easily visible. It doesn't have a flap or anything like that. And I'll show you once we get everything out of the main compartment how you stow it away. But I like that the stuff sack is usable. It's not just like separate or not where you can use it on the exterior. So I do dig that, and as I said, it's a good place for your wallet or other quick use items you don't want to dig in the main compartment for. So jumping into the main compartment now. Pop this open. So as you can see, I'll pull that out so you can see a little better. You can open this about 1/3 of the way down, so you can really kind of get a good idea of what's inside and pack it nicely. But if you're trying to get something out of the bottom without really adjusting all the gear on top, you just kind of got to stick your hand down there and hope you're grabbing the right thing. So I'll grab this out as well. Just got this outdoor research quarter zip in here that I really dig, and then I'll add a packable rain jacket as well. So if I was like leaving for the day and it was nice out in the morning, but I thought it might get chilly or like there was rain in the forecast, I could pack those in the bag and just have them at the ready should I need to put them on. But there's no organization in this thing at all. So if you're someone who really kind of craves organization, you need it in your life, this maybe isn't for you because there's literally none inside that main compartment. You could use packing cubes or different organizers inside of here, but that kind of defeats the purpose for me because this thing is just so light, like that's its biggest thing. So you don't want to bring extra gear to add weight to your bag. But if you already had those things in your main travel pack and you just were going to convert them into this, then you would have that little bit of organization that maybe you need or want to feel comfortable carrying this thing. But now that I have everything out of this pack, I guess I'll show you just the inside there. Just absolutely no organization, just a big area for gear. But now I will pack it inside of its little stuff sack here. So I like to start with the straps here because if these are last, they're kind of like getting in the way of the zipper and are a bit annoying. So I kind of just grab those first and shove them in. Oh, wrong way, sorry about that. Shove them in like that. So that way they're out of the way when I go to close the zipper at the end. So now got the double zipper there, one on each side. So that's how it can be used on the exterior as well. And then you just close this up. It can be a little hard to get it started, but once you get it started, it goes pretty easily there, see. So this is what it looks like in packed form. You can see it compared to like my hand. Fits in my palm pretty nicely. And it's not hard to get in there. You saw how quickly I did that because it's not super tight. Some different packable jackets, packable bags I've used in the past, they're really hard to get in their stuff sack and then they're really small. This one's not really small, but you can compress it. So if you were like had it between two larger items, it would push down like that. You could fold it like this to fit it inside of a liner pocket. You can really do a lot with this once it's packed away, and it's not super hard to pack, which I dig. I also really like that it has this picture of the backpack on here. So if you have a bunch of packable things, like if you have like a packable sling, different like nano bags or something like that, this has a picture of the backpack on it, so you can be like, what is this? And just grab it quickly and go if you want to use the backpack. We've also got this little hook here, so you can attach it to something either inside your pack, or if you want to attach it on the outside of your sling or whatever, you could just use this really quickly to do that. I'm a little bit worried about durability's sake. It just worries me a little bit. I guess I'll give you a close up. You can see how thin that is and just not a ton of stitching holding that on, but very small package. And the biggest thing about this pack for me is the price. So at the time that we're shooting this, at least in the United States, this thing costs less than $10. So if you were to lose it, or like you were to finally get a hole in it after a lot of use, it wouldn't be the end of the world. You could get another one. Overall, this has been very durable so far, but we're going to continue testing it to see how it fares. I guess long term, to see how well it does durability wise. So check back in the usage timeline to see updates on that. But overall, very just happy with how much gear you can stuff inside here, and it just lets you do you. You don't have to, if you don't want the organization, you can just use it however you want to use it. There are some comfort issues, especially if you do tend to carry heavier items or you want to use this as like a market tote going to and from the market when you're traveling. But overall, very happy with this, and just happy with how small it is and obviously the price. So there you have it, the FORCLAZ 100 compact 10-liter travel backpack. Thanks for keeping it here at Pack Hacker, your guide to smarter travel. We'll see you in the next one.